Hey guys, welcome back to the Andy Social. I think this is going to be episode 3, so thank you so much for those who took the time to listen to the first 2. And if this is your first time, then welcome and thanks for, I guess, spending the next hour and a half or so of your time with myself. It's much appreciated. This episode was recorded a couple of months ago down in Wollongong. I'll explain a bit more about this particular guest in a sec, but what you'll see at the moment is that I'm just doing a bit of catching up at the moment. Recorded a number of things over the course of the last few months, and hopefully by episode 4 or 5, I'll be back into, I guess, current time as such. So bear with me, but the content is still pretty relevant, as it should be, because, we're only talking weeks instead of years and whatnot. So I hope you enjoy it. This episode in particular is about a individual by the name of Arnie Olbrich. I'll read the bio from his CD Baby page just to give you a little bit of background context, and then I'll explain a little bit more after that. So on his page, and I'll put links in the show notes as well, so if you are curious to check out his stuff later on, you'll definitely be able to do so. Most musicians in the area in Wollongong know Arnie as the guy who runs Kickstart Rehearsal Studios, but he has an impressive history in the music industry dating back to the 70s with such bands as Tree, which saw them share the stage with heavyweights such as AC/DC and Johnny O'Keefe. Arnie departed for London for several years after that, working for members of the Nashville Teens, Masters Apprentices and Billy Ocean's backing band, before returning to Australia in the 80s to form Hard Grind, which enjoyed national exposure with their top 10 hit Mile Away. In 1988, Arnie collaborated with Leon Berger from Coup d'Etat, which resulted in winning 2 international songwriting awards, including Best Bicentennial Song for The Australian Dream. Arnie later re-recorded that song in 2009 with Lord Tim from that band, and it was subsequently entered into the National Archives along with the associated video clip, which featured rare footage of Arnie interviewing ex-Prime Minister Gough Whitlam. So the biography continues from there on the CD Baby page, so please check it out. There's a lot of info there, and there's music there to purchase as well, which we'll touch on in the interview and explain a bit more towards the end of the episode. From my background, I've known Arnie for roughly 10 years. We initially started rehearsing down at Kickstart Studios in 2005 when the band was called Dungeon, and I think the first rehearsals were prior to either the Megadeth tour in Australia or the Megadeth tour through Europe, and I first met him then. And Arnie was fantastic. It was great to see such a lovable character who was extremely open, down to earth and welcoming, and never judged anybody whatsoever. He is a very no-frills guy, and it just definitely helped us along the way to really find our feet. And for a band that was well and truly established by that point, it was just nice to have somebody in there that just didn't care where you came from, who you are, but treated everyone the same, but with a lot of kindness and respect. So for me, coming down from Brisbane at that point in time, towards the end of 2005, early 2006, for when we changed everything into Lord, he definitely made me feel at home. And over the course of the 10 years that have passed since then, he's just been an extremely integral part of our band and what we've done as far as Lord's concerned. And he's just been a real asset for us, and has been as accommodating as possible for us along the way. And we've spent many a night at the rehearsal studios there, knocking out new songs, auditioning new members, and having lots of conversations with Arnie about all his stories over the years. So when the idea for this podcast came up, Arnie was one of the people on my list that I definitely had to get on, because he is somebody that doesn't like to name drop or boast a great deal. And when he does tell a story, it's very much a side comment that you only get a quick glimpse of, and you go, wow, I didn't know that. And then immediately he changes the subject and continues on with the conversation. So he isn't somebody that does brag, and I thought this is a good opportunity just for him to maybe extend a little bit on some of those stories and tell a bit more about what he's done over the years and his experiences and how he's got to where he is now. And I think for those people that know him and have been a part of what he's done over the years in Wollongong will certainly appreciate this. But I think for anybody who has no idea who Arnie is, I hope you still get some enjoyment out of it. There's a lot of cool stories along the way, and I think just Arnie's outlook on life is just fantastic. It's extremely satisfying to hear somebody make the comments that he does and have the perspective of life that he does. And I wish that more people were in a similar mindset as him, but I'll leave him to explain all that through our interview. Also, as I mentioned before, all links and whatnot will be in the show notes. Arnie's done quite a bit of recording with Tim from our band Lord over the last few years, and we've got piles of CDs and we've got digital downloads and everything, and the music's really cool. So if you do enjoy the interview and you do like the idea of what he's been doing over the last few years, by all means go and download a song from the CD Baby page, or better yet, buy a CD and not only enjoy the music for what it is, but support Arnie, and I think he'd really appreciate it, and we certainly would from our end as well. So anyway, enough rambling. Here is the interview with Arnie, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Cheers. So starting out with music, how did you get into it? And was it guitar that you first picked up, or was it something else?
No, it was guitar, and it was because of the Beatles. The first time I heard them, and the euphoria and the mania and everything else that went with it was just inescapable, especially when you're 13 or 14 or something like that, and you thought, oh, this is incredible. We should start a band. Well, no one knows how to play. Doesn't matter. They had to start somewhere too. Let's just buy some gear and you can be John, Paul, George, Ringo. What do you want to be?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind being a drummer. Never played before, wouldn't have a clue. And it was sort of like that.
So you just sort of stumbled your way through it to start off with?
Yeah. Buy yourself your instrument, a chord book, and practice, and learn how to tune your guitar to start with, which took quite a bit of time.
I even went through that. I think we just kept playing until I realised that you had to tune your instrument.
Yeah, and then you've got to realise that the rest of the guys have to be in tune with you as well.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. When you formed that first band with friends, was there a number of different small bands that you went through before? Because it was Tree, I think.
No,
was that the first band, or was it other bands?
The Coffin Cheaters.
The Coffin Cheaters?
Yeah, the Coffin Cheaters. In Berkeley, it was one of those sort of housing commission areas where you felt like, this could be trouble again tonight.
Yeah, right.
So, it was a Coffin Cheaters, and we just started playing Kinks numbers and Yardbirds and things like that.
Okay,
yeah, and that was it. Played a few covers, played a few shows around town, did an outback tour of New South Wales.
Right, okay.
Really big time. Andy Leeton and Griffith.
What were they
New
like
Year's
playing
Eve. It was amazing.
Yeah?
It was probably the biggest money we ever made in our careers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Our manager, we had a manager then, we were only about 16 or 17.
Yeah.
He came with us and organised it beforehand, and we did New Year's Eve out there, and we made a packet, really, and it was just unbelievable, you know.
Was it pretty relaxed? Because if you guys are 16, 17, you're underage as far as drinking goes.
Yeah, we're underage drinking-wise.
Did they have a lot of restrictions on that, or was it a bit more relaxed?
It was more relaxed because, no, we'd still go to the pub and have a beer, but most of the time we were there, it was in the milk bar.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, eating your hamburgers and this, milkshakes, whatever. So there wasn't that much time spent really at the bar. It was mostly at the milk bar.
Yeah. There you go. All right. And so 16, 17.
Yeah.
And then what happened after? How long did that band hang around for?
About 3 years, and then that folded up, and then I worked with a number of other bands that I can't remember who they were really. Never did anything really special, and just pub bands, covers and all that. And then I started a band called Gas Stove, and we started doing all right. And then another band came and asked me to join their band, and the band was called Tree, and that was simply because there used to be 3 of them. I swear it's true. I says, okay, I'll join the band as long as we do some new things and that. And we started wearing makeup and
all right. Was this sort of shock rock
out
sort of stuff, or?
It was glam rock.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It was that sort of thing. That was 1972, 73. Went through till about 75. And we did some huge shows.
Yeah.
The showground at Wollongong, where we supported, Sherbet, and we were really popular there, and on the strength of that, they gave us heaps of shows at Checkers and Hornsby Police Boys Club and Carrying Barn, this and that and that. And we were working probably 3 to 4 nights a week then, which was a lot. And you actually got paid for doing it as well. So that was really good. And then we had an agent in Sydney who said he'd line us up on a tour to America as support to, I don't know, Uriah Heep or Jethro Tull or something like that.
Wow.
And we were really excited, obviously, because we thought, wow, this is great. And we only did a couple of originals in those days. And about 3 months later, we read the Sunday paper somewhere, and here's this guy. He was a car salesman, and he'd import and export cars and all this sort of stuff. And he took off to America because he owed millions. You know, like he used to store cars for other people, consignment stuff. And he took off. So that was the last we ever heard of any tour to America.
Right, wow.
That was it, yeah, really, just like that, out of the blue. And you thought, oh, we can trust this bloke, and he's really good and everything. As sharp as a razor.
Wow, bloody hell.
I don't know if they're still looking for him, but he took off. And he was from Manly or somewhere up there like that. So that was the first brush with... you don't believe everything you see or hear.
Industry is pretty, it's like the Wild West, isn't it?
A bit dodgy.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It still is in certain aspects, definitely. You did a few originals.
Yeah, in those days.
So what sort of covers?
I wrote the songs.
Yeah.
Pretty... sort of Uriah Heepish songs, I'd say. You know, we tried to do big harmonies the best we could, but none of us were the best singers in the world, so we just sort of blundered our way through it and did a few falsettos here and there, and that was it. But one of the big things with that band was that we had a residency at Coaldale RSL for about 1.5 years.
Right, wow.
On a Saturday night. And I guarantee that place was booked out every Saturday night for a year, and people had to be turned away at the door because they came to see us play. I don't think they came particularly to hear us. They wanted to see us, you know, with all the makeup and purple hair and this and that, and people just wanted to see it rather than probably hear it. Maybe they enjoyed hearing it too, I don't know.
It probably would have been something like, for a lot of people who wouldn't have had seen anything like that before. No, so out of curiosity, as you said, just coming down, just purely see it visually.
Even people from the Shire used to come down.
Oh, wow.
And just, you know, just have a look. So, I've seen these turkeys.
From the makeup point of view, was it an influence from like people like David Bowie, or was it? Yeah,
David Bowie. He came out about that time. It was well before Kiss and everything, but probably more like David Bowie and Wizard.
Oh yeah.
Ron Wood and Wizard. Probably bands like that.
Like that.
That inspired us.
Yeah.
I'd say them.
And you mentioned Uriah Heep. Was it just a couple of shows that you did with them and Jethro Tull, or was it?
We did none.
Oh, no, they didn't end up happening because
that didn't happen at all.
Because of that guy.
That was it. Finished. So we didn't do anything with them at all till I met them and hung out with them in London in '77 and '78.
Okay.
And then I was with them then.
Because I know that you. Knew some of the guys, or you still do, or whatnot. So I was going to ask you about that. But how long was Tree around for? Just a couple of years, or
about 4 years.
Oh right, okay.
About 4 years, and then there was a break, and I was filling in with bands here and there. Saturday night, bowling clubs, golf clubs, the RSL, things like that. And then I went to London for a few years.
Right, okay.
And that was really good, simply because there was a new way of looking at things. In Wollongong, particularly Wollongong, it was sort of frowned upon to play your own music because everyone was practical. Well, you won't get a bloody gig if you do your own stuff. No one's heard it. wants to hear your shit, you know what I mean? They want to hear stuff that they know, don't do it. So you're always sort of proscribed from doing your own thing, or at least not encouraged, you know?
It's like that a bit now.
Yeah.
If I meet someone for the first time, one of the first questions once you say you're in a band, they say, "Oh, do you do originals or do you play covers?" But when you say originals, you can see them sort of glaze over a bit and lose interest. Obviously, for people that are within the industry, it's a different story. But people who are your average Joe, they still ask those sort of questions. So it's still a bit of a stigma there, and I think people get a bit bored or disinterested if you're playing your original stuff. They want to know that you play, I don't know, AC/DC or
stuff that
Sabbath
you like.
or whatever.
Well, we work with AC/DC, Johnny O'Keefe and all that, with Tree at Checkers and everything, for nights in a row, you know. We'd start at 9 and finish at 3 in the morning. Us and Akadaka would do half hour on, half hour off at 12 o'clock.
You did multiple sets?
Yeah. We'd work there all night, the two of us.
Yeah.
And at 12 o'clock, Johnny O'Keefe had come on, or whoever the special guest was.
Yeah.
Because Akadaka wasn't real big at the time. They were just kicking off themselves. Yeah, so the special guest would come on, do his or her own thing, and then we'd go back on and finish the night. And everybody was trying to measure it so that, can you do the last spot tonight? We want to go home. We have to go to work in the morning.
It still happens now.
Yeah. And even in those days, getting back to original songs and that, I'd be standing with Angus side stage while, say, the special guest was on, and we'd be going through our list of songs that we had, and we'd say, well, we've played that and that. And he says, yeah, I know. He says, well, we played this and we've played that, Jumpin' Jack Flash, this and that and that. How's about we swap it around so we don't play similar sets after each other? So we switched the whole arrangement around, and they were only doing a couple of originals then themselves.
Wow.
So, and
you guys
they are.
That's right. And ridiculous how big they are.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it like in a format like that? Because you don't see that anymore. You'll have 3-4 bands on a bill and they play in a particular order, and once you play, that's it. And you can play anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour. And
good night, and go home. See ya.
That's right.
But no, up there it was till 3 in the morning.
Yeah, and was it the case that you share your backline? So you'd have the same, so it'd be more or less plug in, plug out?
No. Akadaka would bring their own PA, we'd bring our own PA. We had them both set up on stage. Mind you, they weren't big 4-way systems or anything. And we mixed from stage ourselves. We used to have this old Farrington PA that was made by a local guy around here, and the boys from Akadaka go, what a heap of shit that is, look at it, homemade crap. And when theirs kept breaking down all the time, Angus say, listen, Arnie, do you mind if we use your shit Farrington tonight? That's okay. So we used our own PAs, and I think when the special guest band came on, they used one of our PAs too. They didn't bring their own gear.
Okay, right. Yeah, because these days it's you try and share as much as you can.
Yeah.
And if we play interstate or into town or whatnot, we'll usually try and utilise whatever the local acts have. Yeah. And then we'll just bring our amps and whatnot, the basic stuff, just to minimise the gear and the changeover times. And
that's it. Yeah. You've only got a small stage to work on at Checkers and that. So I mean, all the gear and all the people, 2 bands plus the entourage of the special guests and stuff like that was just amazing, you know.
I can't even fathom bands like having 2 or 3 bands on a bill and all having individual PAs. That's just
no. But we both had our own, but Johnny and his band didn't, and they all came swaggering. There must have been about 15 of them, including the band. You know, like a whole entourage of really important people. And it was the first time Johnny O'Keefe had ever played at Checkers in his life.
Yeah.
And he'd done everywhere in Australia.
Yeah.
And he was really like pleased to be there and everything. And there were a lot of people in the crowd that night, and because they had black lights all over the place at Checkers, you'd see the people sitting there under the table with their socks showing, and they all wore luminous socks. Really, you know,
all lit up.
Like Johnny O'Keefe in the old days and stuff like that. You know? So I think they came to see him that night.
There you go. Yeah, it's so different to what it is now, as far as, you know, having a night planned out with entertainment. And I think people these days are more concerned about not being out too late, or making sure they get the last train or last bus, and because of laws now with liquor licensing and security and whatnot, a lot of these places can't afford to be open past midnight. So a lot of the time you're cramming as much into 3, 4, 5 hours as you can, and I think sometimes we lose track. I think we try to put too many bands on, and I think we really should scale it back and just focus on 2 or 3 bands at the very most. It's crazy to think, at least from my side, given what we've done the last 10 or so years, just to hear those sort of formats of what it used to be like.
But in those days, as a band, you had to play a whole night. If you had a residency or any pub gig, you played a whole night. There was no other support band. There was nothing. There was just you and the night ahead of you.
And because we're playing covers as well.
And you had to play covers because otherwise you wouldn't get through a night. Or other than that, you played longer solos every time, and that gets a bit boring for people to hear.
People start walking out.
Another 5 minutes, so I just solo a bit more. Tell them we've had another request for the same songs. We're running out of songs, man.
Would you ever repeat songs?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. We had to, and we'd say, we've just had a special request from Carlos down the back there. He'd love to hear this song again. He'd clap, obviously, and everyone's going, oh no, not this song again. But you were desperate because you're running out of numbers. You know, it's like, oh God, we've got 40 songs up our sleeves, which was a lot to learn. And you think, well, that's going to last us 3 hours for the night. And they're all 3-hit wonders. Some were stretched out a bit longer, but generally they were 3-hit wonder songs, you know, 3 minutes. So you had to be versatile, and that's why you had to chuck in a lot of covers to get you through the night. Because you couldn't do 30 of your own originals that nobody had heard. People would leave in droves.
That's it.
You can mix in 1 or 2 originals here and there, but the whole night long there was hardly anyone who ever did it.
I think a lot of people have lost track of that, because there's all that artist integrity, and people are so fixated on doing their original music because it's their representation. But in the end, I mean, regardless of how much artist integrity you've got, you're still entertainers. And if you're playing live, you're entertaining people. And if people are coming out, they're going to be having a couple of drinks, they want to have a good time. And if they don't know your music, then you want to be able to play something that's going to entertain.
That's right. And you're not going to have a job as a band.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the bottom line. You can have as much integrity as you like, but if you're not out there showing it, your talent or whatever else it is you've got, well, you don't have a show. So you've got to do it. So you've got to do what other people want to some extent. And then you can fudge it a bit and chuck a couple of extras in, you know?
Slip them in along the way.
Sideways.
Was it ever, like, I mean, these days, not as many people go out to shows anymore because there's so many distractions. You've got Foxtel and all this free-to-air TV.
Poker machines. You never had any of that.
No, so you get more people coming out because there's nothing else to do.
No, they'd sit there and watch it because, there wasn't any other form of entertainment except a pool room in the saloon bar or something.
Did you guys ever sell merchandise at all? Or was it it was just purely the money that you get from people rocking up?
The money we got from the pub, the publican, whoever owned the place, they'd pay us at the end of the night. There was no GST or this or that.
Just cash in hand.
Just cash in hand, and you walked out. You didn't get a lot, but it was a fair. It was a fair pay. And if you're doing 2-3 nights a week, you could actually live off it.
And how would you get your other shows? Would it be word of mouth, or would you guys physically contact people and
a lot of them would contact us through having heard about us, and then they'd put us on other shows and support to big bands at the town hall and that sort of thing.
So it was definitely a reputation that you got.
So the promoters would catch you somewhere and say, listen, I've got Madder Lake or Skyhooks coming along in a month's time. You want to do support? Yeah, sure, love to. So it was was sort of more like that, rather than having agents and managers. You hardly ever had them.
Yeah, that's right. You just get a bit of a
one here, one there.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
There you go. You mentioned it went to the UK.
Yeah.
And London.
I said, and it was a real eye-opener because nearly everybody played original music. Nearly.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, there's still hundreds of cover bands there, but generally all the ones who are trying to crack it and make it, 77, 78 onwards, nearly everyone was doing originals. If you weren't there to be in a cover band, you would have got into one, but you would have ended up at some really ordinary hotel with mums and dads and stuff like that, you know, who wanted to have Beatles music and stuff like that. So nearly everybody was, well, most bands were playing originals, and that's when you got sort of like, you got to do originals. And in order to do originals, you got to find a band, make recordings, send them off to promoters, publishers, and all the rest, and then wait for a reply. So I did that for a while. I worked with the Nashville Teens, ex-members of the National Teens, because they had a big hit, number one hit around the world in 64, 65 with Tobacco Road. And I think there was one or two members of the original band left who kept the band going. And I met up with them in Munich and then again in London, and then I worked with them for a while, and they were doing some originals, some of their own stuff from earlier days, some new stuff.
So were you writing with them?
No,
just playing.
No. And then I got together I wrote all my own stuff, and then the other guitarist in the band, Peter Proud, who did quite good for himself in London with other bands. And by the way, he used to be the chauffeur for Dave Gilmour out of Pink Floyd. He used to pick him up in his BMW, drop him off, this, that. I got together with him and we made a recording of 4 songs, and the keyboards player in that little outfit was the tour manager for years and years with Genesis, ABBA, stacks of bands like that. Henry McCulloch or something like that. He was a really great keyboard player. He was really good, but he did keyboards as a sideline because he was making big money managing the tour, the trucks and all that sort of stuff.
All right, so he was a jack of all trades. Yeah.
So we did that. I sent off the records to every company in London. Most of them would send you a form letter. Yes, it's quite good stuff, but it's not our thing at the moment, which means virtually piss off. It's crap. And one, Bronze Records, got back to me and said they loved one of the songs, and they thought that Manfred Mann would like to do a cover of it. And I thought, wow, so we had a meeting and all that sort of stuff, and signed papers and everything, and then it was a matter of wait and see. And at that time, it was Bronze Records, which did Uriah Heep, Bossa Bissa, Manfred Mann, etc. So I met up with all of them a few times and that. And as I was saying before, it was about the time when Bronze Records broke up, because Jerry and Lillian Bron, the husband and wife team, started to go asunder. So the whole company went a little bit downhill and didn't know really what to do, and it became confusion. And that was at the time when Uriah Heep had out their big hit, Free Me. At that time, And then after that, labels changed and everything changed all over again.
I've seen that quite a bit, especially a lot of the bands that I'd follow that were from the late 80s, and you look and you go, what happened to that band? Like they released one album, did really well, and then you sort of go back through and you look and you see, well, that particular label just died, and because bands relied so much on the label at the time, there's no other way to keep music out. They crumbled as well.
And you don't realise how and why they crumble for various reasons. You know, like at the husband and wife thing or whatever else. You never think about it. You always think, you know, like two blokes having a big argument, or they ran out of money or something. Often it's personal things that break the record company up, or the publishers or whatever.
So potentially if they got along, and everything stayed fine, and the possibilities could have been completely different.
They could have been, but one never knows. You never know. You just travel the road and see where it takes you.
Going. Yeah, that's right.
And they sent me up to see who was it? MAM Records. They liked one of the songs too, and the guy said, "Look, I like the way you write this type of song." He says, "I should get you in contact with Gilbert O'Sullivan."
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Joking. He said, "It's nothing like Gilbert O'Sullivan." Christ's sake. He tried to line me up to collaborate with Gilbert O'Sullivan, and I thought, no, he's pulling my leg. This is a joke. And I hopped back in my car outside after the meeting with him, and I turned on the radio, and then the news came on that Mark Bolan had just died in a car crash. You know, the bloke out of T-Rex.
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh no, that's a bad idea. That's it. And then I was starting to run out of money, and I thought, working in pubs and here and there and factories and doing the odd gig or whatever, you're making nothing. You know, at the end of the night, you'll get a free beer, and thanks for coming, guys. That's it. After you've paid your road crew and everyone, there was nothing left for the band. Yeah. So I drove up to Aberdeen and spent 6 months, 5 months on the rigs in the North Sea. And up there, I made about 400% more than I was making in London.
Yeah.
You know, from £30 a week living in a pub to £300 a week on the rigs. So after a few months of that, I thought, I'm doing all right now. I can go back to London and finish what I started.
That would have been a hard job on the rigs.
It was an isolated job because you're on there for 14 days at a time.
Yep.
And I swear the winter of 77, 78 was the coldest winter in 35 years in Europe at that time. And it was 35 below zero. Out on the rigs, the waves were cracking 60 foot and there were 100-mile-an-hour winds.
Oh.
Really, it was unbelievable. Everywhere you walked on the rig, you had to wear gloves and everything. I mean, not because it was just that cold, but because there was ice. All the rigs were covered in ice. It was just amazing. It was that cold.
My grandfather's Scottish, and he worked on the oil rigs. I don't know when he retired, but that was his job.
Really? In Aberdeen?
I'm not sure where it was. That when he migrated here, then he worked all through Indonesia and the Bass Strait as well.
On the rigs?
On the rigs.
Oh, right.
I believe he also did rigs up in the UK as well, but
Was he Scottish?
Yeah, he's Scottish.
He was?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. So
he would have started off in Aberdeen somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Andy.
Yeah.
Amazing, so, and thousands of guys stick with it once they get hold of it.
Yeah.
Because the money's great.
Yeah, well, he used to go away from what my mum told me, he'd go away for weeks at a time.
Oh, yeah.
And then come back for a small amount of time, then go off again.
Yeah.
So he'd just come back as far as the breadwinner and here's the money.
Yeah, that's it. Off again.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them would go to Abu Dhabi, you know, the Mexican Gulf, here, there, everywhere. There were jobs everywhere in those days for rig workers.
Yeah.
So,
Doesn't sound like it was an easy job at all.
No. We worked a minimum of 14 hours a day. 14 hours a day minimum. And there was no Saturdays or Sundays. You just kept working for 14 days. And then you got chop it off. They take you to the Shetland Islands. From there you get a fixed wing back to Aberdeen Airport, land on an icy runway, and every time you landed you thought you were going to die. Oh, can I have another digestive biscuit, please? I think I'm going to be sick. So it was one of those, really bad winters in Europe. 35 below zero. You had to crack the toilet bowl to get water, and the cistern and everything else. Everything froze. Jeanette used to wear contact lenses in those days, and she'd put them into fluid overnight.
Oh, yeah.
And in the morning, she had to use a pick hammer to get her lenses out of the frozen solution nearly.
I can't even imagine what that feel like to put it on your eyes.
But that was just an example of how cold it was.
Really. Incredible.
Yeah, that was really something. But the money was good, Andy.
Yeah, so it obviously set you up a little bit.
Set me up a little bit to go back. Yeah, mucked around a bit more with the same sort of people, and then a few new ones and this and that. But I think by then the penny was dropping that, no, you're not making the grade here. You know what I mean? And you saw your old friends, everybody knew everybody. You know what I mean? Kate Bush, this, that. Everybody knew everybody, but only a couple of them were doing it and making it. The rest knew everybody and did the odd gigs here or there, but didn't go any further.
And was it purely just because of that and money that you decided to come back, or?
There was, you're running
Can I
out.
close this, if that's okay?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Andy, go to it, man. Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah, mainly because of that. And after a few years away, you start to think, I think I've had enough now. I think I've had enough.
And how long were you there for?
About 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Yeah.
I read on the bio that Tim whipped up for the Arnie O thing.
Oh, right.
That you also did a stint with Billy Ocean?
Yeah, that was a screw.
Was that while you were in the UK?
No. That was part of being in the UK.
Oh, yeah, while you were there.
Yeah. Wasn't the reason for me to go. But I was doing a jam with some guys at the Fox Hotel in West Kensington, and we were just playing some Santana songs and this and that, just jamming really. And this guy comes in, black Jamaican dude, and it was a Lord Mayoral function or something like that. So there was a bigger, big wigs there and formal people and all that. And he comes up to me after, he says, Arnie, he says, you want to join our band? He says, I'm with Billy Ocean, and we've got a band going. We've been together for about 2 or 3 years and this and that. But Billy had already had a hit out by then. Love Really Hurts with whatever it was. So he says, you want to come and join the band? I says, okay, I'll go down there. So he says, we practice at Bethnal Green. And Bethnal Green is in the heart of the East End of London. It's really entirely different to the West End. So I get on the tube, I get off Bethnal Green, underground, the tube, I walk up top, and I swear for the first time in my life I had ever experienced this. I was the only white man in the whole place. And I can only imagine what it felt like for people in Australia or somewhere else being the only black man in the place. I felt really, and you're looking for someone that looks familiar, and no, 100% black.
So completely out of your comfort zone, like you've never experienced it before.
And then we go there and we play reggae all night in the community hall. That's where they practiced. And we did a couple of gigs at the pub and stuff like that. But all I'm doing is switch the wah-wah on and go, wow, whatever. Oh, Stanley, you asked me to join as a guitarist, and all I'm doing is get to play a solo soon, man. So I got out of that, and after all that, the big Billy Ocean thing, I never met him.
After all that?
No. He was already big by then. And Stanley was living, his earlier days with Billy when I was struggling. So I never met Billy.
Would have been a bit of an experience though, obviously.
Yeah, it was. Particularly getting off the tube station and saying, wow, I'm the only one here.
I had that feeling.
Strange.
I had that feeling last year. I went to Germany just by myself for a week, and I mean, I've been to Germany a few times.
Yeah.
But I've been with groups of people, usually the band and whatnot. So when you're all together, you're a group. You feel a bit more. You don't feel as isolated. But I went by myself, and it was a different level because I didn't look different.
No.
But when I walked up to someone, they assumed that I was German and started speaking in German.
Yeah.
And then when I would try and say I don't speak German, you could see them sort of get it, not frustrated, but you could see them recalculating. Oh, okay, now I have to try and speak English.
Yeah.
And immediately you felt like you weren't meant to be here. This is not your home.
Yeah.
And I just thought that's what. And the same thing you said. That's what. It's probably the feeling that migrants get when they come to a new country.
Just a slight case of alienation.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't really fit in yet. You'll have to work on this a bit longer.
And I felt reluctant to talk to people because I didn't want to go through that awkward moment each time I talk to someone.
Yeah, every introduction is awkward, you know. Every new person you meet is awkward.
That's right. But when you're with a group of people, it doesn't matter as much. You
you can bounce off each other.
But it's good. It gives good perspective.
It's an eye opener.
Absolutely.
It's an eye opener. It is.
Yeah. So you came back.
So in between time too, I worked with the guys from the Masters Apprentices, Denny and Paul Burgess. Worked with them for a little while. Yeah, then I worked with them for a while, and then I answered an ad in the Melody Maker and auditioned for the Split Ends.
Oh, right, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's true. And they asked me about my theatrical attitude and this and that. I'm
theatrical attitude?
Like wearing crazy outfits, makeup, how they were in those early days. They were really crazy on stage. Well, you've got to come over, we've got to go get together and everything like that. And I thought I was in.
Maybe. Thank you.
Yeah, I really thought, this might be something. This would be great.
Yeah.
And a couple of days before we were meant to get together, they phoned me and said someone was leaving the band. The little fella? No, the guitarist was leaving the band. Well, someone was leaving the band anyway. And they decided to pull up stakes and go back to New Zealand.
Oh, right.
They'd had enough.
They'd
had enough.
Yeah.
And then they came back 6 months later with Tim Finn, the younger brother. So that was it, yeah. So, the things that happen to you.
It's funny, though, like you get to a crossroad and it could dramatically change your life.
Yeah, it could have gone this way or that way or whatever way. I mean, it's just interesting, to sort of experience things like that where you've come nearly close and got a bite of the cherry and then it has been withdrawn from you again. You think, oh, shit. I think I don't want any more. So, and then back to Oz. And then I started hard grind, and I knew for the first time, being back in Wollongong then, that the only band I'm going to start is an original band, and I don't really give two hoots about what people think. If we get work, if we don't get work, I really don't care. I'm putting a band together that's going to do mainly original stuff, and I'd say we did about 75% originals on our first gig.
Yeah, wow. How'd that go?
It actually went a lot better than I thought.
Yeah.
We'd intersperse it with a few covers like Stranglers songs or Clash or this or that, but it didn't go too bad, and we kept getting gigs and gigs and gigs. We worked Wollongong Hotel nearly every Saturday night for a few years, and then we put out that record, which got to number 10 down here, and then that took off, and from that you got even a few more gigs. So it was a bit of publicity, a bit of recognition. You're on nationwide TV on that Sounds show that Donny Sutherland used to have and all that sort of stuff. So, whether people loved you or not, you never knew, but we had a sort of a good hardcore following. not a great number, but they used to come to every gig.
Did you just play Sydney Wollongong area, or did
Sydney
you go
Wollongong.
just that?
That's it.
The guys in Hardgrind, were they mates that you already knew before you left to go to the UK,
No.
or just you hooked up with new
brand
musicians?
new ones.
Yeah.
All brand new musicians.
And how did you find them? Just through word of mouth? Just
Yeah, word of mouth. I said that, look, I'm looking to start a band, and they'd probably heard about me from before and stuff like that. And they were interested. A couple dropped out because they didn't like the direction of it.
Yep.
And then we replaced them with others who did, and we just plodded along from there.
And when you came back, obviously with a bit of a vision of what you wanted to do,
Yeah.
what did you have in mind as far as, like, if you could compare it to other artists, or?
No, we were more in the t-shirt, jeans brigade.
Yeah.
Punk was already fully on the rise and everything. Makeup didn't seem to be warranted anymore.
Yeah.
It seemed like a heap of old hat, you know. So we just did the t-shirts.
It was like the no
jeans,
frills.
No frills.
Yeah.
Just basic pub rock.
Yeah.
Really, there was nothing special about it in the sense of this is new, never heard this before. It's just basic pub rock.
Yeah, what people want.
And that's it. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Really.
And how long was Hardgrind together for? Because I think that
4 years.
Yeah, because that single that
Yeah.
you gave me, that was 81.
81.
Okay, so
Yeah.
how long after that? So another year or two?
Another couple of years, and then it folded.
Yeah. And what was that? Just people just different
We
direction?
lost
or-
interest.
Lost interest, yeah.
Yeah. One guy had to go away for work, and then to replace people and all that sort of stuff, I think people generally lost interest in, you know. So we just gave it a miss.
Yeah. So what did you do after that? Because
Then-
yeah.
Then I had a really great opportunity. I wrote this song that I thought was really good. And I thought I need someone to produce it this time. A real producer, not like the last one, the record we made, which the manager produced, and he'd never produced a thing in his life before, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I rang up, I contacted Leon Berger,
Yep.
who at that time was probably one of the biggest acts in Australia. I mean, he was doing Surrey Hills, the Musos Club in Surrey Hills,
Okay, yeah.
and bands that would tour like the Eagles, Yes, and Doobie Brothers, etc., would come to see him
All right, okay.
after their show at the Horden Pavilion. Of course, he had a reputation for being such a whiz kid.
Yeah.
Like he was Russian, classically trained, 2 keyboards, really
He was
sort of
he was the after-show entertainment.
neoclassical type of rock. Really different and really good.
Yeah, well,
So,
okay.
God, wouldn't it be great? And he produced his own stuff too. Thought it'd be great having someone like that give you a hand with your song. So he agreed to meet me at his place in Bondi. I went up there, played him the song. He says, yeah, I think we could do something with that. Says, leave it with me for a while. Sing something on a tape for me. And he's sitting there on a great big grand piano in the lounge room, huge, you know. And on it he's got these 2 Pater Awards,
Okay, yeah.
like those 2 things, those pyramids you
yeah,
see
yep.
there. And they were Pride of Place plus Yamaha Award
Okay.
he'd won.
Yeah.
And they were Pride of this place on this grand piano. And anyway, who's ever to know that this would happen? We got together at Sound Barrier Studios in Glebe,
Yep.
put down the tracks, got in a couple of musos to sing and
Yep.
play a few things, and then we finished it. And for some reason, I found out about this songwriters competition, an international one, and it was for Best Bicentennial Song,
Yep.
which was 1987,
88.
88, yeah. And I entered it, and a couple of months later, they said, you've won the big category, the best bicentennial song, and we're having the big presentation at the Opera House. Really.
Yeah.
And prize money and this and that. So we went up there and got the awards and everything, and from there on, it got a big lift, you know, and Leon was really pleased with
This is the Australian Dream.
Yeah. And then after that, it just died off like most things naturally do, because at that time, do you remember Mo and Joe, who did the margarine commercials and have a two is a two or stuff like that? Well, I went to Mo and Joe and had a meeting with them in Sydney about using this song because they were part of this bicentennial corporation with the government to select the best song. And Mo's sitting there and he says, great song. He says, Arnie, you're too late. We've already filmed it with Johnny Farnham and John English and Marsha Hines, went to Ayers Rock. Now we got millions from the government. It's all been preordained. You're way behind it, old son. It's all been done. I don't know why they keep advertising, but it's all been decided already, ages beforehand.
Was that song released on vinyl, or was it ever released, or was it just
never released? Never
and
released.
Obviously that ties in later on when you re-recorded it.
And then I re-recorded it with Tim.
Yeah.
I had that opening with it, which was quite good. But that's the only time it ever got sort of somewhat released in a limited form.
So I was talking to TY, the actress, the other night at Kickstart, and he said, have you heard the original one, the one that you originally recorded? And I said, no, and he goes, I'll see if you can find it on YouTube or whatever. He said, it's fantastic. It's like a completely different, in a sense, to what Tim ended up recording. But I went searching for it, I couldn't find it anywhere at all. So I thought, it'd be a great thing to hear, just to see what the contrast was.
I'll get you a copy of it, Andy. I'll get you a copy. With Timmy, I didn't want to do the same thing again.
Of course.
Note for note, it was like, let's do something else. Like, let's give it a new feel and everything. Let's give it a bit of
times it changed,
rock and all that. And then it became 10 minutes long anyway. But I mean, who cares? You might as well indulge yourself. It was going nowhere anyway.
That was good.
So you might as well just do what you feel like doing.
That was good.
We put in that opera piece and everything and all that sort of stuff. So bombastic, totally self-indulgent. But I mean, sometimes that's how you become, because no one's going to listen to it anyway.
Well, you're doing it for yourself. Once it's like any music. Once you record it and you release it or you put it out there, you don't get another. Well, you do get another chance if you wanted to, but it's out there. That's it. So you may as well do everything you can to make. I mean, we have that philosophy with the band. Is that a lot of bands sort of think, well, we better dull this down a bit and simplify it, because we might have to play it live down the track. But then we sort of think, well, what's the point of that? You sort of shortcut yourself or sell yourself short. So we just go all out. We get the big orchestras, all the layers of vocals. We just go crazy. And then if we can't play it live, we can't play it live, because in the end we'll stop playing. We won't be able to play anymore. But the music will still be there. So we may as well just
use the click track.
That's true. That's what we do.
Sound embellishment. I mean, everybody does it. Crikey. But it's really true. So if you haven't got management or direction in which you're sort of induced to go into, then you might as well just do it for yourself and have fun doing it. Because you're not going anywhere else with it. With the Aussie Dream, it was like, it was really great fun, but it went nowhere. Oh no, sorry, it did. It's got a little bit of historical background now. It's in the...
Is it the National Archive?
And the State Parliamentary Library. The State Parliamentary Library phoned me up on the strength of the song, and because I interviewed Gough Whitlam, I'd say it was more because of Gough Whitlam, because Gough Whitlam was in the clip that they asked for it, and they said, well, we want a couple for us, so I sold 3 to them, a couple for us and 1 for the archives, and I sent them up and they sent me the money, and that was it.
How'd you get the interview with Gough?
I used to work for federal politicians once. I worked with the immigration minister, Stuart West, in the early 80s.
This is after Hard Grind, I assume?
Just after Hard Grind, because I just finished a master's degree at uni while I was with Hard Grind. I worked with Stewie for a short while, and then I worked with another federal member Colin Hollis for a while, and Colin and Stuart and Goff were all pretty good friends. So when I said to them, look, we're going to do a video of this, any chance of getting Goff to do an interview for me? Oh yeah, I'll ask him. And there's about 500 people at this reception for Goff at Albion Park, mind you.
Yeah.
And he finally, Arnie, we'll do it now. He comes up into another room where we sit down, and I ask him what he thinks about the makeup of Australian society, etc. So we do that, and then the cameraman I had with me says, psst, Arnie, I forgot to switch the fucking sound on.
How long into the interview had you got?
We'd finished it, and Goff had taken off. He's back downstairs signing autographs and, regaling people with stories of old times. So I asked everyone, where's Goff? He's not around. Oh, I think he's in the toot. So I went up beside him in the toot and I said, hey, Goff, he's about 6'6". Hey, Goff, guess what happened? And he'd go, yes. Looked down at me, knowing that there was a problem brewing. We forgot to switch the sound on. Any chance of doing it again? He says, look, there's that many people out there. Do you really think I could do this again? He says, okay, come on. Let's do it again. So we did it again, and at the end of the interview, he said, the bloke who was doing it, now did you get that down this time? Just before I go.
And I see a bit of that on the new video.
Yeah, that's it.
And you put that little clip at the end of it.
Yeah, we've kept that in.
How long was the actual interview with him?
That was it. That was the one question.
Oh, so it's just the one question that you
It's
did.
just the one question.
Yeah.
I had a whole lengthy list of things I wanted to ask him.
You only had limited
but
time.
in the end, it was like, I'm lucky to get him for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Never mind doing a full 1 hour in-depth program with him, A handheld camera, cheap as anything. It wasn't broadcast quality or
in
anything.
hindsight, it probably worked out better.
Yeah.
Because you got a good story behind it. It's not just you rocking up and having a
we stuffed up really bad.
Yeah.
So that was that. And then after that we did the other thing with Timmy, PC yesterday, and I sold quite a few of that number on Amazon and eBay and stuff like that. And now with Neural Erosion, it's not selling as well because nobody buys it anymore. It's free to download wherever you like, but it's had well over 20 million hits on internet radio.
Oh, right. Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
It has.
That's crazy.
Well over 20 million hits on internet radio.
Wow.
I don't know which song, but the whole album has.
Yeah, right. Wow.
So that's a plus if you count sort of not knowing people as a plus. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, what I said to you last week when we were on the phone, I knew about it and I'd seen a couple of videos that Tim had filmed, but I hadn't taken much notice of it. It wasn't until you gave me a CD the other week, so I've been listening to it quite a bit and I just went, this is fantastic. Yeah. And then I sort of thought, well, hang on, why don't I know about it? Why haven't I sort of been exposed too much to it?
Never been promoted.
Yeah. So then my mind starts ticking. I thought, I'm sure there's a good way that we can do it, pitch it. So, as I said, we'll discuss some ways that we can, because through our band, we sell a lot of merchandise. And I sell Tim's other projects that he has there as well. There's an audience there already. We've got a customer base that they continually buy from us all the time. So maybe we could do something and get your stuff up on there. And then each month we just go, all right, well, we sold X amount of copies and here's the dosh and we keep going. So,
great. Better than them sitting there in my garage collecting dust now, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I had that question on here about the Arnie O connections with the two albums. Were they leftover song ideas that you'd had over the years that you just didn't get out, or how did...
Neural Erosion was all brand new, virtually.
And did you write a lot of it?
All of it. All of it, and PC Yesterday. PC Yesterday was a hodgepodge of the old hard grind and new ones. And the new one, Neural Erosion, that was all written recently.
Yeah, right, okay. Yeah.
That's it. It was really, it wasn't leftovers from days ago or years ago.
So you're still a pretty top-notch songwriter then, in my opinion, because it's...
I never thought about it like that. I just thought, I feel like doing it. I feel inspired to do it and everything. A couple of songs are calculating songs where, you work by a formula and stuff like that, but in the end I just did what I felt like
what you
doing.
liked
and I didn't care if the words made sense to people, but they're very metaphorical.
Yeah.
I've got more mixed metaphors in here than, Bruce Springsteen with that song of his, Tramps Like Us, Maybe We Were Born to Run. Strap your seat around my engine or something like that. Things like that. It's like, what does that mean? It conjures up a lot of visions, but nobody knows what it means.
It's for the listener's interpretation.
It is. A lot of the song is like that.
Oh, that's good. I'm quite surprised then, because I just assumed that it was just all a collection of leftover stuff. You didn't have enough of the first album, so then the second album was a remainder of it.
No, not one. I think maybe one. Rich Boy.
Yep.
Rich Boy is the only one that was a leftover from hard grind days. All the rest was sort of virtually brand new.
Did you make a conscious effort to surround yourself with local musicians? Was that something you really wanted to do? Or was
and it was a lot easier than going to Sydney or elsewhere, because you've got to come here to practice the songs, tell the singer this is how it's done, because the singer wouldn't have a clue how it's meant to be sung or anything. And when I sing, I'm not very good at it. He wouldn't get a good idea from me. So you got to go step by step. No, it's like this, it's like that, it's like that.
And did you just pick different singers because of the different styles and songs? Because
I'd hear them at the studio or whatever. And I think, that bloke might be good for a couple of songs here. Let's give it a go. And that's all I did. And then Timmy, he's always reliable and good. So he did a couple again, which is good. And I got Graham Wilson to do another couple because I like the bloke. I've known him for a long time. So I just sort of stuck with the same formula.
It's good. It's just it's a lot of different shades throughout the album.
It's really wide-ranging. It is.
Because if you hear, I didn't really start to pay attention until Tim had just done the last video clip for Dolores. And so I listened to it, and then I sort of, in the back of my head, I just assumed that every song sounded like that. And it wasn't until I listened to the songs I'm hearing John sing, I go, oh my God, this is completely different to what I'd had before. It's fantastic.
So you can't take one song in isolation and think this is representative of the album, because it's not. It's like a lucky dip, isn't it? It's sort of like, a raffle.
That's
Put your hand in, pull something out, it's totally different to the other ones.
Did you, when you were writing it, because it's all fairly recent, with all the songs, was it sort of a retrospective sort of look, or was it just how you were feeling at the time, whatever came out? It wasn't really conscious.
Some of it was calculating. Like Dolores was definitely calculating. I made sure I got that pretty right in what I wanted to portray. And Escargot Roadkill was another pretentious, calculating song, because I wanted to write about the life of snails. That's why I put that big sort of Gettysburg Address at the beginning. Really pompous shit, but it worked all right. So those two were calculating. The others were just not just how you felt at the time, but what fitted together with how you felt. Instead of revealing I feel like this or that, it was more a matter of, make it more poetic. Mix the metaphors up a bit more, so you don't really know what this bloody geezer's talking about.
It makes it better from a listener point of view, because sometimes if something's very one-dimensional and it's spelt out, people sort of go, I can't relate to it, or I get nothing out of it. There might be a select few people that understand it directly as you've said it, but for a lot of people they probably can't connect with it so much. But if it's written with a lot of metaphors, then people can listen to it in a different way depending on their
and they'll all think about it in a different way. I'd say so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really. So I thought, and just do what you feel like to.
Yeah.
Really, if it's not perfect, well, bad luck.
Yeah.
I mean, what's perfect anyway?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
You know?
Well, it's like anybody. You write and you record and you release a song, and then 2 or 3 years later you listen back and go, "Oh, I could have done that. I could have done this. I could have made that better." And it's out there. It's done.
And after years of that, Andy, things are never going to change. The next album you'll listen to it in a few years' time, you think, I could have done this, but you probably won't even think that anymore.
No.
You'll just think, look, that's what it is. You can listen to it. Here's the product. You can listen to it. I'm not going to sit here and say, I could have done this and I would have done that and I nearly did this and, you should have done this if you wanted to make a hit. It's all like, it's meaningless in the end unless you got a product out there.
Yeah.
Even a shit product is better than no product at all. Otherwise, you just get people talking about what they could have done.
And that's what you want. I mean, if you're writing something where you're happy with it and you're happy with the outcome, to a degree, and you're genuine with what you're doing, then that's all that matters. I mean, the rest of it doesn't. It's all secondary. If you get any success from it or more attention, that's a bonus.
It's a bonus.
You've gone through that process. You've got it out there, and
but I do have to say, as you go through the recording process, you become a bit more impressed by the whole thing. Oh, this is really good. Oh, wow, that sounds good. Oh, that's really good. Oh, he's put that together well. Listen to the harmonies here and this and that.
Yep.
Then a couple of months later, you think I would have changed that. You have second thoughts.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's absurd in a way, because while you're doing it, you have the time of your life, and then afterwards you have time to reflect on it, and you think, well, we could have changed something, but it wouldn't have really changed the outcome.
No, and your perspective is always going to change all the time.
Sony Music wouldn't have picked you up because you changed a couple of things in it.
Well, that's it, and you shouldn't be changing purely to increase your chances of getting further attention. You really want to change something because you like it better.
Or unless you're under contract.
Well,
and then
that's right.
You do what you're told.
That's right.
But other than that, why bother?
That's right. That's good. So I think we'll look into that a bit more, because I think there's a lot of things. I've got a lot of ideas that we could probably do with it and just help you sell the copies that you got and get it out there, because it's.
I'm amazed that you like it, because it's so 80s. It's so 80s. We went out of our way to make it so 80s.
That's why I love it.
It was like uncanny at how Timmy was able to manage to make it sound that way. Yeah. Really, I thought, that's really amazing.
Yeah, that's why I love it.
He did a great job on that, really.
Yeah. No, I think it's and to start on the next thing I was going to talk to you about Kickstart. One of the things that I've found is that, and maybe it's just me, but a lot of the people that come and go through Kickstart over the years probably don't know a great deal about where you've been in the past, where you've been now, and the projects that you've been involved with. People just come into the service of having a studio, and that's it. And I was like that to a degree. I sort of just came in, hey Arnie, how you going? And that was part of the reason doing this, is I thought, I mean, you've had a dramatic impact on the local area over the years. And a lot of people have been involved, but there's still a lot of people who just don't understand or don't know a great deal about it. And when you hear about even just knowing, for me, I knew about this 2 CDs, but I didn't understand how it all came together, what was the background behind it, the context of it, and it appeals to me even more, because I understand the whole thing around it. It's not just the fact that here's a CD, here's a song. There's more of a story behind it. There's
a bit of history behind it, but I've never found it that profound, Andy. It's just no, I really haven't. I mean, I'm more surprised when I hear Timmy churning out some production of one of my songs. I think, I really love this. That's profound for me personally. I wouldn't tell anybody else that, but all the rest of it is, you've done that. You've done that. I don't have to regurgitate what I've done, and it's not going to make me feel better to tell everybody about it and put an ad in the paper about it. I know I've done it. Like 6 months in North Sea was probably one of my greatest achievements. Nobody loves to work that much. Particularly me, so I thought that was a great achievement. I never thought I'd get the opportunity to work in the North Sea. It was sort of like getting a job with the Stones.
Right.
For me it was. So I've never had to sort of flagellate myself with, you've done good or this and that. because once you've done it, it's gone again, Andy.
Yeah,
You know, and you sit there comfortably numb or whatever, and you think, yeah, it's all right, but it's not profound. You know, this is not Beethoven or shit like that. You know what I mean? It's just another pop song or rock song or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And other people might think, they need to promote it. That's fine by me. I've got no problem with that.
Yeah.
But everyone's different.
That's it. I think, there's a difference between the person who creates and puts it out there, and there's a difference compared to the person who takes it in and listens to it. So for you get it out and that's it. And put it behind you and move forward.
And then do something else.
And everyone else sort of goes, oh, this is fantastic. And and music affects people in different ways, and stories and life experiences are different, different interpretations. So it's I've always laughed because you've just from knowing you over the last 10 years, just through Kickstart, you're just a no fuss guy.
No frills.
Yeah, absolutely. And no drama. No. Just whatever. And
relax, take it easy.
Yeah.
If it's fucked, we'll fix it.
Yeah.
Or we'll try to.
Yeah. And that was one of the...
And if that doesn't work, I'll give you a free rehearsal. Get myself out of trouble.
That's it. But for me, like when I came down from Brisbane and did the Lord thing, from meeting you, and I remember meeting you for the first time, and you were the same then to the same that you are now, completely open, kind, happy, laid back, no bullshit, no drama, and you, whether it was intentional or not, and probably wasn't, it was just you just made people feel that they were meant to be there.
Yeah. I do go out of my way to try and make people feel as comfortable as I can, and that's probably because, like you, I'm a diplomat, and I know that there are no prizes for getting up people straight away. You know what I mean? Because in that sort of business, there's a lot of strange and pretty dodgy people in there sometimes. And if you stood up for what you believed was correct every time, you'd do nothing but pull your hair out if you had any. You know what I mean? It's just not worth the effort over small things.
You pick your battles.
Yeah, just relax, you know. Yeah. It's a mistake. You spilled another can of beer, this. Who cares?
Yeah.
I can fix that up. You know what I mean? Don't worry about it. It's fine. And you probably get more willingness for people to help after you haven't flown up them.
Yeah.
Really, they're probably a bit more considerate the next time.
Absolutely.
You know, after they've dropped one bottle of beer all over the floor, they probably think, better not do that again.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
You've won one heart.
Yeah.
So I think that's really sort of good. A little bit at a time.
Yeah, no, I think it just, for me coming down here, I certainly was very self-conscious about my capability and where it was going to go with the band, and in a way I thought, I'm probably only going to be down here for 3 months and I'll go back up to Brisbane with my tail between my legs. Yeah. But I think...
10 years later, Andy.
Well, yeah, I'm still here, which is pretty good. But you made me sort of think straight away that I was meant to be there. You know, you didn't sort of look me up and down or sort of go, or just ignore me. You were just extremely friendly, open, and you sort of feel like, I'm meant to be here, and you relax a bit and you stop thinking about all this stupid stuff that sits in the back of your mind. You just get on with it.
But subconsciously, you can tell nice people straight away.
Yeah.
You know, subconsciously, you like some people and others you don't like so much. But you'd never go out of your way to show your dislike. You'd remain diplomatic, a little bit tactful, but you wouldn't say too much. And with the ones you do, you'd be a bit more chatty and talkative and slightly more helpful.
Yeah. And you would have seen all sorts coming through Kickstart.
Oh, yeah.
Over the years.
Definitely, really. I remember you guys first coming there. I thought, this is the first time I've heard a band of this quality. It just reminded me of being in the studio with Heap at Roundhouse Studios in London. I thought, these guys just unbelievable. And the harmonies you were pulling and shit like that, I thought, it's just astounding. God, it'd be great to have some of these guys working on one of your songs or whatever, you know. I was really that amazed, you know. I'd even go and sit by the door and put my ear to it, which I hardly ever do, you know. It's like, this is really outstanding.
Should just
The
walked in.
harmonies and all that. No, I never tried to disturb. Could be a bad moment. They're just at their best piece now. Don't stuff it up. But no, really, I heard it then and I thought, this is really world-class rock. Harmonies, everything. It was live and all that. And it really reminded me of Uriah Heep in the studio playing live and that, you know?
Yeah.
Not that they're the best in the world or whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
But I thoroughly enjoyed them and I thought, this is the closest thing I've ever heard to it.
Yeah.
Really, and they're right there in the studio.
Yeah, and obviously from, you know, being you and being open and friendly and kind and for us, I mean, then obviously relationships have formed and you did the stuff with both the Tims and with projects, so obviously a lot of great things came out of it, which was good.
It was a huge plus for me.
Yeah.
Really, it was a huge plus for me. I thoroughly enjoyed it, every minute of it. I thought, this is really good. I'm working with somebody really good people, you know. It was like working with Leon Berger at the earlier stage, you know. Someone who is just head and shoulders above you in the musical stakes. It's like you're just a little puppy dog, you know. pat. Yeah, you're trying hard. So it was good to work with people like that. Really, it was a privilege. It was.
It's just great to see all that come out of it.
Yeah, it is. And it's just determination and patience.
You just never know where things are going to go, do you?
No. Don't push it. Wait for the right time, you know. Get comfortable with people and blah, blah, blah. Have a chat here, chat there, whatever. And then maybe I'll think about, that'd be good. And it was fortunate too that Timmy had worked as a session guitarist for Leon Berger in his earlier days, which was really uncanny. And he says, Berger's the best. Right. So we had something in common there.
There you go.
Know what I mean?
Connection there.
Yeah. Really uncanny.
He's definitely got a few interesting stories over the years. When I
I can imagine.
Yeah, I'll have to pull a few out of him eventually because he's got some pretty interesting ones.
You chuck in that bourbon.
Yeah,
I'll bring the bourbon and coke over for you.
You'll open up.
Yeah. You want another drink, Andy?
No, I'm fine. All good. Thanks. About Kickstart. How did the idea come about to actually start it, and was it something that there was an opportunity there and you jumped in, or?
I'd spent 20 years working in disability services, politicians, disability services with psychos. I'd go to prisons and pick them up and get them rehoused, different things like that. And after 20 years, ending up at docks and everything, I thought, I've just had enough. I've got to do something else.
You would have made a lot of friends doing that though, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, heaps. But I just thought, I've got to get out. So I looked around for something to do on my own, and Kickstart Rehearsal Studios was up for sale. So
it was already Kickstart at that stage?
It was already Kickstart. Okay. It was already set up.
Yep.
I mean, I did a lot to improve it after I bought it off this bloke.
Yep.
And then I ran that nearly to the day, 15 years.
Yeah.
Finished last week, and what a send-off last week.
Great.
Perfect. Really, it was
good.
Unbelievable. And nearly 15 years to the day.
Yeah, incredible.
It's amazing. So I enjoyed being there, but towards the end, it was becoming a chore.
Yeah.
It was really, I'm losing interest. Energetically, I'm not there anymore. It's time to get out and do something else.
And especially when in your mind, you're already trying to sell the place.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of time that you're waiting as well.
5 months.
Yeah.
5 months, it's all dusted off now. Checks in the bank, everything's done, they've moved in. Everything's cleared out, all smooth sailing now. So that's really good, you know. But the last few months were, for me, no, not frustrating, just tiresome. I really don't feel like going to work today. I don't want to go to work. You've had those days where I just can't get up in the morning. I hate Mondays or whatever it is. And I never felt like that before.
Yeah.
But then in the end you think, everything worked out perfectly. It did. Just like slotted in, Andy. Just arsey again. Arse. I've had more of that than anybody else that I know, really. See, sometimes you are at the right place at the right time. Even though the crossroads go everywhere and you fall flat in your face, there are times when you end up on your feet standing.
That's it. You just got to be there. You got to just remember or be aware when those things happen.
Yeah.
Seize it.
Yeah. And just endure the shit times. You know, I'll get better again. Bad doesn't last forever.
Yeah.
It doesn't, especially if you've got a sort of optimistic outlook. And I think that helps a lot because it helps to keep you going.
It's the power of the mind, isn't it?
Yeah. And if you're after perfection, well, look no further.
You're going to be miserable all your life.
Exactly. You'll never make it.
That's right. I know a lot of people like that who just spend all their time worried about making sure that everything's 100%, everything's perfect.
Or reminding you that you didn't do it right.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, wow, a little bit of bureaucratic power that I have, I'm going to exercise it again today. Yeah, God.
Well, at least it's a weight off your shoulders now and another chapter that's done.
I'm wrapped, Andy. It's such a relief, really. It's such a relief. I can sit here now and think, what'll I do later on today? Don't have to go to the shed. Don't have to go out there and lock up for someone or this or that.
just do your own
I'll give you the keys and get you in, but I can't do that anymore. There's not even a PA. There's nothing left in there.
What are they doing at the place?
You know, Green Acres Association. It's an organisation for people with intellectual disabilities.
Okay.
I actually spend a lot of time working with Green Acres and their clients.
Yep.
And they have the unit next to mine.
Okay.
And the whole back of that unit is all Green Acres.
Oh, right, okay.
There's about 3 acres behind the building.
Yeah.
And they wanted mine.
Oh, so they're going to just take that over?
They're going to take that over, knock down walls, extend it,
right,
and go all the way through again.
Right.
So, huge concern. So I was good.
Yeah.
So I was good, and you know, you could have waited for the right price, whatever else. But again, it's like perfection. Take what you get. Play your hand. Yeah, that'll do. Thanks.
Yep.
I'm happy with that.
Yep.
So I'm really glad now.
That's good. Now that's done, what lies ahead? Because I know you haven't been well.
Well, yeah. Given that, you don't know how long there is to go. Last year they told me I'd be lucky to see this year. That was in about September. You know, liver's shot to pieces, this, lymph glands, this and that and that. You should have this treatment, that treatment, that treatment. I declined all treatment. Look, I'm knackered now. I don't want to hang around for a few months or a year longer on bloody artificial stimulation. So I thought, no, I'm not touching it. That's it. Against all the best advice from specialists. But I got sick of seeing them. They all want to operate and this and that and that. And what the fuck for?
That's probably all.
For what end? Oh, yeah, Andy, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm saving the taxpayer a fortune.
Doing your community service.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I'm getting my scripts when I have to, and that's it. Other than that, it's like, just leave me alone. Palliative care comes round and has a chat to me once in a while, and when the time's right, they'll give me morphine hits, you know, which these days last for 2 to 3 days.
All right, okay.
Intravenous.
Yeah.
So they give you enough for 2 or 3 days rather than having to come round every day jabbing you with morph.
Right.
So they can do their job when we get there. In the meantime, just get off my back and leave me alone.
Well, obviously you made the right decision, because I've seen people go down the other path and, as you said, only hang around for a few more months and they're blasted with chemo and radiation. And
Andy, I've seen so many.
Not a way to live.
I've seen so many. What for? Life isn't that good that you got to stretch out the agony of it. You know what I mean? Nobody's happy about it. Your friends and relatives aren't, I'm glad you're here again. They're gone. I wish this was a month ago. or 6 months ago and you weren't here anymore. Would have saved us all a lot of grief.
It's a lot of stress put on.
Oh, it is. Everybody. It's more for other people than yourself. Once you resign yourself to it, it's like falling off a log, Andy. I mean, I always remember when we were young, and so do you. You know, you kick the bucket, you fall off the ladder, lighting a smoke and break your neck, you get punched out in the street, or whatever it is that happens could happen. And we've all had younger friends who have passed away from some terrible misdeed or illness or accident or whatever, and it's still the same now. Just because it's your turn doesn't make it any different.
Yeah.
It's not personal.
No, that's right.
It's not like, no, we've got your number. It's just like, no, it's just the way it is. Just wear it. I prefer to think of it as like, with the cancer thing, go with it. Just go with it. It's your companion. And once you accept that, it's sort of much more easy than to fight and rail against the tempest. You know, I can't do it. Got this to do, got that to do. You just burn yourself out with worry.
Well, and you
what
probably...
the fuck for?
Yeah, that's right. Your body just shuts down because you're stressing yourself out.
Yeah.
So the power of the mind's a massive thing. That's probably why you've been able to beat the prediction that you've been given.
Yeah, I mean, I'm amazed too. I'm amazed. From 75 kilos down to 55 in a short space of time. I haven't eaten solids in 3 months. I drink Sustagen, which is really good. I'm glad I like it, Andy. Otherwise I'd be knackered. And actually they have Sustagen with fibre now.
Okay, right. Yeah.
Oh, that makes it so much better. But I'm saying, like, when it happens, it happens. The first initial shock is the first one.
Yep.
And you find out.
When you find out.
Oh, shit, really? I never gave it that serious a thought before. But as you go along with it, it's like an old coat. Yeah, still here. Good. Just tag along with me.
Yeah. Do you ever sort of think what will happen once it all happens?
Yeah.
In a sense, do you have any sort of outlook, or because I know a lot of people get all from.
I do have an outlook. All that I'm doing and all that everybody in the whole world does is go back home. Chemically, physiologically, they go back to where they came from. They get imploded into the same dust and chemicals that they started with. And they go out there somewhere and start all over again like out of a black hole. You know what I mean? So you're not going far, I mean distance-wise, but generally there's nothing new out there.
That's right.
You're just going back.
Yeah.
You're just going back to where you came from.
That's right. I guess we're all built up of all sorts of billions
millions, different combinations, but they're out there already. They've been there for bloody trillions of years. 13.3 trillion years we've been doing this, and we think we're that different. I really
we all
don't
think special,
so.
don't we?
No.
So you haven't. There's a lot. I've seen a lot of other people get awakened to.
No, I haven't had a conversion of any sort. I'm not likely to. It's not that I've closed my mind to new ideas or offers, but I've never bothered with that much.
I think
knowledge is better than indoctrination.
I think a lot of people go that way because they're scared.
Yeah,
and
they're fearful.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are fearful.
Yeah.
They won't do some things that others will step into gladly. So, some people are fearful. They'll have a conversion. I don't know what there is to convert to. You're just going back. That's it. That's all you're doing. You know. And all you got to do is tell your cancer, if you kill me, you'll be dead too.
That's a good way of looking at it.
You be careful.
That's right. Yeah,
be careful.
Don't jump the gun.
Yeah, right. You'll be gone same time as me.
It's almost like a bee, isn't it? The bee stays here, the bee dies.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, don't sting me because you're going to go as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're committing suicide. You need a host. So no, I'm not bothered about it. I mean, you are bothered, but not to the point where it worries me too much. I mean, you wake up and you think, oh, I'm feeling shit today. Oh, it's all right. Have a sausage and you'll feel better. have a couple of rum and cokes tonight or something like that. Listen to a couple of records or whatever. You'll be okay.
Well, there's only so much you can do, isn't there?
And most of it's been done, Andy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you and all the boys in the band and that have done all those things that you ever wanted to do. I'm sure none of you are hanging out to have, a bucket list?
Oh,
do you have a bucket list?
Not really. There's always things that I want to do, but it's not something that I live my life to be able to complete them though.
No.
And if I don't get to do them, then my life's incomplete or anything like that. But no, I don't have that. I don't.
I've never had a bucket list.
No.
I've gone out and done it. You know, like going to Mexico a lot in different places, all the shitholes in Latin America. I love going there. It's like, why would I want to need to do anything else? Really?
It's that gratitude, isn't it?
It's like,
just grateful for what you've been through, what you've done.
Like it didn't cost $1 million or first class or anything. It was just like, shit, you can't buy this stuff. You know? Like you can't buy being in a band either.
No.
And all the things you experience while you're in it.
Oh, everything happens.
And all the stories you'll never tell. Of all the dastardly things you did.
It's not too many. The last thing you want to do is have some stupid list that you're lying there and you haven't got much time and you're sort of thinking, oh shit, I haven't done like half these things. You stress yourself out, you get upset and you start having all these regrets and you end up being miserable at the end of it all. So it's
and I have these puny regrets like, oh God, I wish I could get up now and straighten the sheets up a bit. I've wrinkled them all up and they're in a mess and things. Oh shit, bugger, I'll just go back to sleep. One of my big concerns.
The big concerns at the moment. That's right.
The pillow's not right.
Well, if they're your worries, then you're not doing too bad then.
They're pretty puny, isn't it, eh? The great concerns of life. Pillow's not fat enough. I better get another one.
Oh, there you go. Well, it's definitely an interesting thing, and I said on the phone to you today before I came, I don't know if you're the same years past, but I think everyone sort of gets a little bit curious with mortality, and when people sort of get closer, people start to put their nose in it and they start to get a bit more interested in it because it's not something that people talk about a lot either. For various reasons, whether people just don't want to, it's not interesting or they don't feel like there's anything there. Like for you, it's more of a case of the same as what you've done in the past. Like, why would I talk about it? I don't want to make a big deal of it.
If we talk about it as fact like we are now, it's fine. It's a reasonable thing to talk about because it's actually happening. It's like talking about the record you're going to make. If you don't talk about it, you'll never know about it. So it's sort of like, it's just reality. Another snippet of life, you know? It's just towards the other end.
It's unfortunate that people don't talk about as much because it's so much emotion that for a lot of people.
I think it gets too emotive. It gets more emotive for other people than it does for me. I'm cool as a cucumber with it. Other people start going like that and you think, it's going to happen to you one day too. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. It won't make things better.
I've seen it. I've seen it with people that I know, and the person, the subject of it all is, not doing well, and the whole family and the friends are all just falling apart in front of them, and highly emotional, and just for that person, they're just stressing out because their family and their loved ones are all stressing out. So it's just not
all the histrionics that go on surrounding it, it's like this great mystery of life. I mean, being born is as mysterious as bloody kicking the bucket. Really, it is. At least at the end of it, you've grown up, you've done a lot of things, you understand a lot more. I think the end of it should be twice as easy as the beginning. Where you're a virtual captive for the first bloody 5-6 years of your life, aren't you? A prisoner of your parents' desire or somebody else's desire or your teacher or this or that.
what your surroundings, your environment, that's dictates what you are to begin with, and it's not until you sort of grow up and get your own mind. And
Yeah, you can rebel against some things, but only the things you know you can beat. So
you got to pick your battles, don't you?
You got to pick your battles, play your cards right, you know. Like, don't buy a third card when you're sitting on 20. That's a bit crazy, you know. That's not playing the odds.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah, I find it quite comfortable, really.
And I think because it's been a little while now as well, you have more time to process it. Yeah, and it's just become part of life, isn't it?
3 years since I first found out about the prostate thing, but the prostate had nothing to do with the liver. The liver does all the damage. But I've calmed it down a lot with diet and things like that. So the process might slow down, but it'll still grab you in the end. But like I keep saying, without me, you won't exist either. So they're probably waking up to themselves.
Yeah.
I never thought about that before.
Yeah, I'll hang around just a little bit. I'll enjoy this while I can.
Yeah. I like the sausagen. I love the sausagen. High fiber sausagen is so good for me. Let's hang around, guys. Okay.
And I think we're all going at one point, aren't we?
Some stage.
Yeah. I mean, we've all got a number over our head.
We deteriorate.
Yeah, we're all doing it from as soon as we're born.
Exactly. From the moment you're born, you're on a downhill slide.
Yeah, we're all dying.
Yeah, you are.
Another. Yeah.
I mean, that sounds sort of a little bit fatalistic, but virtually you are. From the minute you start growing, you start aging.
Yeah.
And when you age too much, you start dying. So it's not unusual, is it?
It's not.
It's not.
No.
I don't think it is. And I think it's cracked up to be a lot more than what it really is.
Oh, yeah.
Really.
No, I think people...
I'd rather do the Monty Python song. You know the one?
Yeah. That's a much better outlook.
It is.
People overanalyze things. I think people overanalyze things in general in life. Stress themselves right through their life.
People need a reason for everything. No, you don't. You don't need a reason for everything. Some things you just do spontaneously, you know, because you feel like it. You're stupid, you're cruel, you're kind, or whatever reason. I mean, if it ain't hurting you, what's the problem?
Yeah.
Really?
I need to work on that because I'm Mr. Rational. I'm always looking for a reason for everything. A logical, factual reason, of course. If it doesn't make sense, then I'll jump up and down.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just need to just go with the flow.
I do that too.
Yeah.
You know, in me working days and things like that. No. 2 and 2 will never make 5. Sorry. Let's start again. Let's get this right. You know, sometimes you have to be exact. You do.
Depends on the circumstances.
Yeah.
You definitely have to pick your battle, as we said before.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes you just have to go with the flow.
You do.
There you go.
And this is going with the flow.
It is.
It is, Andy. So what are you doing tonight?
Nothing.
Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed that one. Yeah, it's a lengthy one, but I think it's a good one, obviously. But there's a lot of stuff in there, and as I mentioned at the start of the episode, even if you don't know Arnie or weren't aware of Arnie, I would be very surprised if you didn't get something out of that or something of interest anyway along the way. If you want to support Arnie, there are links to all of his things in the show notes via andysocial.net. My Facebook page, which is the one I've created in addition to my personal one, which I'm going to try and whore a little bit more now, is facebook.com/Andy Dowling official. So ANDYDOWLING official, and I'll have all the links on there as well. Probably the best way at the moment is via his CD Baby account. You can get all your digital downloads from there for his Arneo Connections project. I have a pile of CDs here as well at my my Lord store. And by the time this podcast is up, I should have a separate page within our online store that you can purchase Arneo Connections CDs in addition to Lord and Black and Angel and all the other merchandise that we have available. Just so you're aware, all the stuff that we sell via the Lord store goes straight to Arnie. So it's not something that we're going to make profit out of. We're just helping Arnie out to hopefully get him a little bit more exposure to a wider audience. So if there's anything there of interest, and even if you just like the story and what he had to say, it's a great piece to own either of his albums. Actually, I might even have 3 titles up, including the Oz Dream as well. So check that out. Otherwise, the CD Baby page will be your best bet. As I said, they will be all in the show notes. Also, if you want to support the podcast, as everybody else seems to be doing in the podcast world, go to iTunes and rate it there. I assume that you would just share this stuff on social media. I will be able to come up with a proper spiel sometime soon. Hopefully by episode 500, I'll have something down-packed by then. But look, I appreciate anybody who's still listening, and I'll continue to put out more stuff as we go along. And please let me know what you think, and speak soon. Bye-bye.